Hello viewers, I am Deepti. Today I am going to discuss Karnataka ICSE School Association Preparatory Examination for Biology Class 10 ICSE for the year 2022-23. Let us start with section A, question number 1, which is MCQ. First is the repeating components of DNA strand lengthwise: nucleotide, nucleoside, centrosome, nucleosome, and our correct option is A, which is nucleotide. Second, which one of the following is the phenotypic monohybrid ratio in F2 generation? 3:1, 1:2:1, 2:2, or 1:3? And the correct option is 3:1 because these are visible feature. Correct option is A. What is responsible for guttation? Means oozing of water from the margins of leaves. Osmotic pressure, root pressure, suction pressure, and capillarity. Correct option is B, which is root pressure. The loss of water as water vapor from the aerial parts of a plant is known as evaporation, perspiration, guttation, and transpiration. And the correct option is D, which is transpiration. The specific function of light energy in the process of photosynthesis is to reduce carbon dioxide, synthesize glucose, activate chlorophyll, or split water molecule. And the correct option is C, which is activate chlorophyll. Sixth is common gibberellin is GA1, GA2, GA3 or GA7. And we know the correct option is C, which is GA3. It means gibberellic acid. When a doctor is recording your pulse, he is pressing on your wrist exactly on a vein, capillary, artery or arteriole. Correct answer is C, which is artery. 8. The part of the brain which is concerned with memory. It is cerebrum, cerebellum, pons or medulla oblongata, and correct option is cerebrum. It is option A. Which part of our ear is shaped like a snail shell? Semicircular canals, cochlea, stapes or eustachian tube. And the correct option is B, which is cochlea, which is spiral shaped part. 10th, exophthalmic goiter is caused due to overactivity of thymus, thyroid, pancreas, adrenal. And the correct option is B, which is thyroid. In 11th part, in humans, the fertilization takes place in uterus, vagina, fallopian tube, ovary, and the correct option is fallopian tube, which is part number C. Birth rate is the number of live births per 1000 people per year, per 100 people per decade, per 1000 people per decade, or per 100 people per year. And the correct option is A, per 1000 people per year, not per decade. In next part, one of the examples of radiation pollutants is sulfur dioxide, ozone, iodine 131 or discarded electric bulbs. And the correct option is C, which is iodine 131. Transpiration will be fastest when the day is cool, humid and windy, hot, humid and still, hot, humid and windy, and D is correct option, hot, dry and windy, because transpiration is fastest in all these conditions. The statistical study of human population of a region: A. Demography, B. Population density, C. Natality, and D. Mortality. And the correct option is A, which is demography. Starting with question number 2. A part is name the following. Our first part is the complex structure consisting of DNA strand and a core of histones. Core of 8 histone proteins. It's nucleosome. Second, the process by which intact plants lose water in the form of droplets from leaf margins. This is guttation. Third, the apparatus to record the rate of transpiration in a cut shoot. Ganome's photometer. Fourth, the kind of plastids found in the mesophyll cells of the leaf. It is chlorophyll. Fifth, the phenomena of growth of plant organs in response to chemicals. It is known as chemotropism. Part number B of question number 2. Arrange and rewrite the terms in each group in the correct order so as to be in a logical sequence beginning with the term that is underlined. Part 1 is lungs, stomach, aorta, heart. Starting with lungs, pure blood, to heart, then aorta, and then stomach is the correct sequence. Part number 2, afferent arteriole, collecting duct, ascending limb, descending limb. Starting with afferent arteriole, correct sequence is descending limb, ascending limb, and then collecting duct. Third part, receptor, dorsal root, effector, spinal cord. Starting with receptor, dorsal root, spinal cord, then effector. Effector may be a muscle or a gland. Fourth part is grains, hawk, snake, rat. Starting with the reverse of the food chain, hawk, which is the tertiary consumer, then snake, secondary consumer, then rat, primary consumer, and then grains, producers. Part number 5, DNA, chromatin fiber, nucleosome, starting with chromatid. So chromatid, chromatin fiber, nucleosome, and then DNA. Part number C, match the items given in column 1 with the most appropriate ones in column 2 and rewrite the correct matching pairs. Part number 1, the blind spot. No sensory cells is the correct option, which is part number H. In second part, the yellow spot, maximum sensory cells, which is part number G. Third, iris, it is the color of the eye, part number D. Enlargement of breast in adult males, over secretion of cortical hormones, part number B. Fifth is thyroid, and the correct option is thyroxine, which is part number C. Coming to part number D, choose the odd one out from the following terms and name the category to which the others belong. Given terms are ovary, fallopian tube, ureter, and uterus. And the odd one out term is ureter here because other are the parts of the female reproductive system. Second, oil spill, CO2, SO2, and carbon monoxide. Odd term is oil spill because all others are air pollutants. Third is tubectomy, vasectomy, mortality, intrauterine devices. Odd term is mortality because all others are methods of contraception. Fourth is auxin, insulin, ethylene, and cytokinin. Odd term is insulin because all others are plant hormones and insulin is secreted by human body. Fifth is monocyte, basophil, eosinophil, neutrophil, and the odd term is monocyte because it is non-granular WBC. All others are granulocytes. E part is state the exact function of the following. Part 1 is centrosome. It initiates the cell division in case of animal cell. Second is guard cell. It regulates the opening and closing of stomata. Third is DNA. It carries genetical characters from a parent to the offspring. Fourth is xylem. It conducts water from the root to the leaf in a plant. Fifth is RBC. It carries oxygen from lungs to all parts of the body. Now coming to section number B. Question number 3 is define plasmolysis. It is the contraction of cytoplasm from the cell wall caused due to withdrawal of water when placed in a strong solution. It means cell in this state is said to be flaccid. Second is differentiate between hypotonic and hypertonic solution. Hypotonic solution, in this condition, the solution outside the cell has lower means hypo, lower solute concentration than the fluid inside the cell. So water molecules will move into the cell. It means end osmosis occurs अंदर की तरफ. Hypertonic solution. In this condition, the solution outside the cell has higher. Higher means hyper. Higher solute concentration than the fluids inside the cell. So water molecules from interior of the cell will move out. It means exosmosis occurs. Exo means exit, bahar. 3 is state any 2 points of difference between photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis, it is dependent on light. We all know. Respiration, it is not dependent on light. But still, we can give the chemical equation involved in these two processes as a difference also. For photosynthesis, we know the reaction is 6 CO2 and then 12 water molecules in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives glucose C6H12O6 plus 6 molecules of water and then 6 molecules of oxygen. In the case of respiration, reverse will occur. C6H12O6, it means glucose in the presence of oxygen gives us 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water and then energy in the form of ATP. So other differences you can give here as in photosynthesis you can see it produces oxygen. In respiration, it utilizes oxygen. And third difference you can also give, it utilizes carbon dioxide and this produces carbon dioxide. So these are the differences in between photosynthesis and respiration. In fourth part, the diagram is set up to demonstrate an experiment. Study the same and answer the following question. In the test tube 1 and 2, they are present in the light. In the first test tube, only plant is there. In the second test tube, plant and snail both are present and sunlight is also present. In third test tube, dim light is there, snail is present and plant is also there. In fourth test tube, only plant is there in dim light and in fifth test tube, dark. In absence of light, plant is there in the test tube. So first part associated with this question is, in which tube would you expect the greatest increase in dry weight of the pond wheat? So answer is tube 2 because it is present in the light and due to respiration by a snail, CO2 increases. So dry weight of the pond wheat increases in test tube number 2. In B part, in which tube would you expect to find the plant with the least amount of starch? It is in tube number 5 because due to the absence of light, photosynthesis does not take place. In C part, in which of the test tube would you expect more oxygen? In test tube 1 because plant is present in sunlight and in the presence of sunlight, photosynthesis happens and plant releases oxygen. So more oxygen is present in test tube 1. In D part, in which of the test tube would you expect the presence of least carbon dioxide? Tube number 1 because plant uses CO2 for photosynthesis to occur. In E part, in which test tube the plant may survive for the shortest duration? It is tube number 5. Absence of sunlight, plant could not prepare food. So it may survive for the shortest duration in tube number 5. In question number 4, expand the abbreviation ACTH. You have seen I have made a separate video on bio chapter wise tips and tricks in which I have used some acronyms also and this is the first in the list. ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Name any true nitrogenous bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine. Third is, if you sprinkle some common salt on grass growing on a lawn, it is killed at that spot. Reason: sprinkling salt disturbs the osmotic balance of the cell of the grass. The water from inside the cell rushes out to maintain equilibrium and in this event the cell shrink and damage the grass cell. It means exosmosis occurs. Fourth, mention any two adaptations in leaves to prevent transpiration. There are so many adaptations, you can choose any two. Sunken stomata, fewer stomata, narrow leaves, reduced exposed surfaces, loss of leaves and thick cuticle. In fifth part, the diagram given is representing a stage during cell division. Answer the following questions. First is identify the given stage. It is metaphase. Give a suitable reason for your answer because chromosomes are arranged in an equatorial plane of the cell. So we can easily identify that this phase is metaphase. Part C is name the stage as follows the one shown in the diagram, and we know the sequence is IP mat, interphase, prophase, M is metaphase, A is anaphase, and T is telophase. So according to this sequence, our answer should be anaphase. Now coming to question number 5, define tropic hormones. The term tropic hormones refers to such hormones which stimulate other endocrine glands to produce their specific hormones. Second is what is phototropism? The movement of plant parts towards the source of light is known as phototropism. If you want, you can give the example also. Part number 3. People living in the hilly regions often suffer from goiter. Explain. Food grown in the hilly area is deficient of iodine as soil lacks it. People living in hilly area consumes crop grown in their soil, and due to deficiency of iodine content in the diet, they suffer from goiter. Fourth part is differentiate between hormonal control and nervous control. So there are many differences. You need to write two differences here. Hormonal control can affect growth. Nervous control cannot affect growth. Hormonal control usually slow. Nervous control immediate or rapid. Hormonal control effect is short term or long lasting, and nervous control effect is always short lived. Hormonal control regulates metabolism. Nervous control cannot regulate metabolism. You can write any 2 points from these. In part number 5, draw a neat diagram of an experiment showing that oxygen is given out during photosynthesis. So, this is the diagram, and labeling is must. You need to label all the parts. Plant is hydrilla plant we have used here, then funnel, then beaker, test tube, bubbles you need to show there, and the level of water. Water level inside the beaker must be above the tip of the funnel inside the beaker. While drawing, make it sure. And then oxygen gas at the top of the test tube, or you can say at the bottom of the test tube here. Question number 6. What is pulse? Pulse is the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the wall of the artery during ventricular systole. Differentiate between serum and vaccine. Serum is the blood plasma from which fibrinogen is being removed, and vaccine, it is the biological preparation which consists of weakened or dead germs. Part number 3. When the sounds of lub and dub produced respectively during heartbeat. Lub, it is produced when the atrioventricular valves get closed. It means tricuspid valve or bicuspid valve get closed. And dub, it is produced when semilunar valve at the roots of aorta and pulmonary artery get closed. There are 4 valves. First and second in between auricles and ventricles, these valves get closed, then lub sound is produced, and then at the bottom of these ventricles, semilunar valves get closed, then dub sound is produced. For more clarity, you may refer to my video on circulatory system also. Fourth part, what are the functions of blood plasma? It consists of inorganic salts. All the cellular components of blood are suspended in blood plasma. In part number 5, study the diagram given and answer the following questions. Part number A, name the parts labeled as 1 and 2. 1 is right auricle. You know in these diagrams, left and right are interchanged. So 1 is the right auricle and 2 is the left ventricle. B is name the type of blood flowing in the part labeled as 1 and 2. So 1 is deoxygenated blood because it is moving to lungs by semilunar valve through the pulmonary artery. And 2 is oxygenated blood carried by aorta to the body parts. Third is what is myocardial infarction? When there is a blockage in any coronary artery or in any one or more of their branches, there is a deadening of the corresponding area of the heart muscles, leading to myocardial infarction. In common language, this is also known as heart attack. In question number 7, define implantation. The fixing of the blastocyst to the wall of the uterus, or you can write endometrium, is termed as implantation. In part number 2, give any one difference between monohybrid and dihybrid cross. Monohybrid cross is a pure cross between alternate traits of one single character, and dihybrid cross, it is a pure cross between alternative traits of two different characters. Third is, what is parthenocarpy? Give one example. The development of fruits without fertilization, for example, banana, apple, mango, this is known as parthenocarpy. In fourth part, state Mendel's law of dominance. Out of pair of contrasting character present together, only one is able to express itself while the other remains suppressed. This is Mendel's law of dominance. In part number 5, study the diagram given below and answer the question. Name the part labeled as A and B. A part here is funnel of oviduct and B is ovary. In B part, what are the two functions of placenta? It allows the diffusion of oxygen and glucose from mother to fetus. And second, it allows the diffusion of nitrogenous waste and carbon dioxide from fetus to mother. In question number 8, state the exact location of yellow spot, our best vision point. It lies at the back of the eye, almost at the center on the horizontal axis of the eyeball. In question number 2, mention the functions of aqueous humor. It keeps the lens moist and protects it from physical shock. And second, it refracts light. Third part, what are the functions of spinal cord? Any two out of these three you may write. It controls the reflex below the neck, conducts sensory impulses from the skin and muscles to the brain. Third, it conducts motor responses from the brain to the muscle of the trunks and limbs. Fourth part, give two possible reasons for myopia. The eyeball is lengthened from front to back, or the lens is too curved. Fifth part, study the diagram given below and answer the questions that follow. A part, name the parts labeled as 1 and 2. And the 1 is largest portion of the brain, it is cerebrum. And second is cerebellum, which is the much smaller area under the large cerebrum. Second is cerebellum. B part defines stimulus. Stimulus is an agent or a sudden change of the external or internal environment that results in a change in an organism or any of its body parts. C part, what is conditioned reflex? A conditioned reflex is an involuntary, spontaneous, automatic response brought about due to a previously learned experience. This is conditioned reflex. With this, I conclude my today's video. I have given these points in brief. If you want a perfect square, you can elaborate these points. But don't forget to put the keywords in your answer. They are must. Thank you for watching till the end. Keep watching, sharing and subscribe to my channel. Question paper is in the description box.